Hello everybody, today I'm here to talk about Pumpkinheads, which is a teen graphic novel written by Rainbow Rowell, who writes teen fiction, and illustrated by Faith Erin Hicks. The NoveList Plus suggested reader grade is grades 7 through 12, so good for middle and high school. So Pumpkinheads is about two high schoolers, Josiah, Josie, and Deja. They worked at the same local pumpkin patch every year in high school, and so this book takes place on the last night their senior year. So the last year they're going to be working at the pumpkin patch, and Deja decides, since it's their last night ever there, it's finally time for Josie to try to go talk to the girl he's been crushing on for the last 3 years. So that's the basic premise of the story, just following those two on their last night at the pumpkin patch. So I'll give my spoiler-free review first for anybody who just kind of wants to know what I think about the book, if they think it would be worthwhile read. So the book itself is just a slice of life story. So the whole thing takes place on one night. You're just following Josie and Deja around as they try to track down Jose's crush, who's actually a fellow worker at the pumpkin patch. It's a very fun, quick read. You just kind of fly through the pages, but you never get bored, even though you're following the same two characters around the entire time, because they kind of run into a lot of shenanigans along the way. Either they get wrapped up in something, or there's something going on with the background characters, and it's something always fun going on pages. And the story itself kind of has a main theme. You realize as you go through it is that you can't just sit around and wait for things to happen to you. You actually have to try to make them happen. So that's kind of the main theme they're going on with the story. I think it would be a fun story for anybody who likes contemporary teen stories, especially if you like something with a little bit of romance in it. It's also good if you're looking for a book that has more representation in it, maybe than most comics. It has obviously a main character of color, a main LGBT character, and all the background characters they run across as they go through the pumpkin patch. Pretty diverse in terms of like age and race and everything, so it's good for that. The art itself, as you can see, is like very colorful. And the characters are very expressive. They do like a lot of like close-up face shots, if that makes sense, and even in their body and their motions, everybody's really expressive. And I appreciated the fact that the characters themselves, the main characters and all the side characters, are drawn kind of more like a realistic everyday body types. Like if you read a lot of superhero comics, you are used to seeing like very thin or very muscular like characters only, so it was a nice variety to see like more realistically drawn characters. Okay, if you are looking for other books to read after you read Pumpkinhead, you might want to try some of the Readalike suggested by our NoveList Plus service. There are other realistic middle school and high school set graphic novels. The first is Awkward by Svetlana, Chmakova, which is suggested for grades 5 through 12. Bloom by Kevin Panetta, which is suggested for grades 8 through 12. Check Please by Ngozi, Ukazu, which is suggested for grades 10 through 12. And Laura Dinky's Breaking Up With Me by Mariko, Tamaki, which is suggested for grades 9 through 12. So they're all available as physical books in the library. You can request them through the library catalog anytime you like. Alright, welcome to the spoiler-filled section of the review. If you haven't read the book, go read it, come back. Or I guess if you don't care about spoilers, you can hang out too. The whole backdrop is it's set in the pumpkin patch, which actually, if you're somewhat keen local, just the first thing I thought of was Del Oso Farms. So it's like a jumbo Del Oso Farms, right? So, right? Oh, my coworker's over there. She's like, Gelasso Farms. Yes. So I just think it's like a jumbo Gelasso Farms with like even more stuff. So, but there's like the whole backdrop. They make the backdrop interesting. The pumpkin farm. It's not just like, oh, here's the setting, not doing anything with it. So they run into a lot of like all the side characters, the other workers who work there, including like Todd, the guy who's apparently a CPA now, but still works there during the season and always wears a pumpkin head. Like, you know, they have interesting side characters. The little kid who comes and steals all Deja's food that she's trying to eat. He steals her candy corn and her Frito pie, and she has like, she's trying to get revenge on this little kid, right? Buck the goat, who's just running wild the whole book, trying to run over people, and people are trying to catch them. And then all the weird foods, some of which I didn't know succotash was a real thing, but apparently it's something made with lima beans. I'm gonna have to Google that. And whatever the pumpkin bomb is, like, I love pumpkin pie, ice cream, and chocolate, but I don't know if I want to eat that all together at the same time. I don't know about that. But so they're going through all the carnival goodness. Some things I've heard of, some things I haven't. And run into like a lot of fun characters. So I like that the book turned out to be like a little mini adventure. So the premise is, of course, that they're gonna go have Josie actually talk to this girl that he likes. But of course, when they get there, she's been moved to another shop, and they get there and she's been moved to another shop, and they get there and she's at another shop. So they spend the whole time going through the entire pumpkin park looking for the girl, and of course running across all kinds of stuff along the way, including Deja's side quest to taste all the stuff she hasn't ever tasted in the park. Some things I never heard of, which was a fun time. But I like they got a main quest and a little side quest, so in a way it's semi-video gamey, and run to all the little side characters and all the kids in the park and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty fun, the way they did the premise of it. You're just straight up following along with them as they go on like this, like one night adventure of fun. So let's talk about Josie. So the way his character is written is that he's a little insecure, obviously. He is very self-deprecating, I guess you could say, as he goes in the book, and Deja kind of tries to talk him up to himself, you know. And he's a lot shy, which, well, at least when it comes to talking to girls he likes, but he's not a pushover. So they do show several instances in the book where either somebody is saying something not nice, you know, about either him or Deja, and he stands up for himself and for his friend. So that was a nice kind of mix of character traits, I guess you could say. Yeah. Alright, so Deja's our other main character. Her and Josie are friends, and she's more outgoing, assertive of the two of them. The more confident person. So you find out along the way, actually, several things about Deja. So one, at first, you know, you're like, oh wait, does she have a secret crush on Josie? Turns out, yes, she has a secret crush on Josie. They kind of, you have to pick it up from facial expressions in the beginning before they make it very clear, you know, later on towards the end. But I like the way they did it. They didn't outright state it. It was all in like the facial expressions of the characters. So you had to pick it up at the beginning. And also, of course, they reveal as you go through the story, she runs into her exes, both named Jessie, for whatever weird reason. Oh, Jess, sorry, for whatever weird reason. Jess, the horse lover girl who apparently sighs a lot. And then Jess, who worked at the Too Chill boy who worked at one of the stands. I can't remember which one. They have so many food stands. So I thought that was pretty neat, because at first you're like, oh, does she have a secret crush on him? I think so. Then you're like, oh no, maybe she's lesbian. Oh no, she's bi. So yes, back to the secret crush. I knew I was right. So that was a pretty fun issue. go through the story. And you know, as by the time you get to the end of the story, she spends the whole time kind of talking to Josie about being, you know, less shy, more assertive, talking to people and things. But you know, as you see through, even though she goes up and talks to people, she's an assertive person. She's not, without her own, like, you know, insecurities, she's not assertive all the time in everything. Because as she points out to Josie, she's had a crush on him for a while, but she never actually told him that. So yeah, so they're kind of similar people, in a little kind of swap their traits a little bit, right? He's a little shy, but not a pushover. She's very assertive, but shy in some points. So they make a match that way. All right. So kind of the main thing that pops up out of the story is how you can't just wait for things to happen to you. You gotta kind of make it happen. So a big thing is, like, Josie's always like, everybody likes you, and you have, you know, you make friends really easily and stuff like that. And Deja points out that's because she actually goes and talks to people. Like, you know, there was no fate that made them friends or anything like that. She went up and talked to him. The reason she's like dated other people at the place is because she went up and talked to them. So it's like a big thing about him being too shy to go out and actually talk to a girl he likes. He's just kind of like waiting for it, you know, waiting for stuff to happen. And she's like, no, if you want stuff to happen, you gotta go try. Even if it doesn't turn out the way you want, it's never gonna happen at all if you never go out and try. So you know, you get to the end and it turns out, you know, him and the girl that he thought he liked, not really a match personality wise, but at least he found out, right? And she points out very much, like, you can't just you know, sit and let it turn into some ideal, something that you never actually experienced and don't know how it will really turn out in real life. You have to go out there and try. That goes for making friends or romantic relationships or just anything in general. So it was kind of, it's a good I guess moral lesson, I don't know what you want to call it. It's a good idea to contemplate on, especially for young people who sometimes can isolate themselves sometimes and then wonder, you know, how come I don't have friends, or, you know, that kind of thing. Why does nobody like me? Well, is it that they don't like you, or they don't know you because you haven't tried to talk to them? So that might be, you know, one of the issues going on. So you gotta try, even if it doesn't turn out the way you want. You know, at least you know. Alright, so that's it for my review of Pumpkinheads. Like I said, you can pick it up at the library, put it on hold, and pick it up at your local branch. Check out the suggested reads if you want to read more, and try not to eat too many pumpkin bombs. See you next time.